Welcome back to the 52 Weeks of Wealth. This is Wealth Principle 41. We have been traveling through the wealth principles for the last 41 weeks, and Wealth Principle 41 is change your environment, because environment is stronger than willpower. You've heard in the past that willpower is so strong. The person became successful because they had such a strong will. But the truth is that their environment was actually what forced them into that situation. Before we get started, who here is a real estate investor looking to make more money this year? Doubling their income, doubling their net worth? Yes. Excellent. Who wants to do it with less work, less effort? Excellent. Excellent. Then this wealth principle is the one to pay attention to, at least for this week, until next week's wealth principle. But this is the one that is, I would say, the highest leverage point. Once you change your environment, it will practically force you to take the right actions. A story that goes into play for me is early in my business, early in my career, I recognized that every so often I wasn't getting things that I knew were really important to do. Hands to the camera if you have things that you know would be money-making activities, you know that would make you successful if you just did them more often. Excellent. So for some of us, those would be phone calls. For some of us, those would be door knocking, or it would be a text sent out. Typically, it's a high leverage point. The highest income earners are leveraging other people. The word is OPT, other people's time. In real estate, we talk a lot about OPM. Hands to the camera if you know what OPM stands for. You can drop it in the chat. It stands for other people's money. Other people's money, which we use a lot in real estate. But to get to the next level, we actually use OPT. You know, the contractors that go out and do all of the work for us. In the beginning, a lot of real estate investors, I'm hoping it's not you, but I know me, when I started, I was doing a lot of my own work. I would swing the hammer, I would lay down the carpets, I would paint the rooms, I would fix the sinks, I would replace all the lights, I would replace all the switches. I'd be doing all of the work because it felt like I was saving money, but I was wasting time. The true asset in life is time. So if we can create an environment, which we'll talk about in a little bit later, if you can create an environment that forces you to be more efficient and effective with your time, then you're going to have more results. Because as I've mentioned before, it is about speed to the million. The faster you make the million, the more you get to invest that million in other assets. The more that million gets to compound, the longer it gets to compound. Compound interest is the ninth wonder of the world. If you can get money working for you, you don't have to work for money. Hence, if you recognize that most poor people are obsessed with money, absolutely obsessed. Has anybody noticed that? They work 40 hours a week, hate their job, but they can't quit. They can't leave because they need to go back to work again for more money. And if you ask them, why are you working so hard to become successful? Why are you making more than $1 million right now? Why do you keep going for the next million or the next million? Or if you're still just making 100,000, they're like, why are you going for $250,000? Isn't $100,000 enough to live off of? It's because in their mind, they've been sold the lie that you have to work for money, that you need money to live. Now, it's true that money makes things a lot easier, but we've seen the hippies not living on money, right? They have no money and they live off the land. We've seen the yogis, right? The master yogis who are just living off of, peace and love and good affirmations and helping other people. And they just seem to get by without ever having any cash. So there are these abilities for us to live on this planet without money. But in order to have massive impact, in order to have a lifestyle of choice, of being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want, money is a resource. Money is energy. It allows you to transfer with strangers. Who knows that you get the family discount when you work with friends and family? Has anybody seen that? So that's one way to get the things that you want, is build a good, deep rapport with people who have what you want. And then you can simply transact, bartering. So you don't need money to do things, but money allows you to operate with strangers who have things that you want and operate quickly. Money also allows you to buy other people's time, OPT. So when I was doing all the work myself, it was because it was all I had up here. My environment said work. My environment said do the things. I had the tools, right? Having the tools around my house made it easier for me to just go and physically do stuff. It wasn't until I got rid of my tools and I no longer had the ability. I got rid of my truck. I got rid of my tools and I changed my physical environment. It would be more work for me to go get the tools to do the job than it would be for me to pick up a phone and send somebody over to take a look. who already had the tools, who had the truck, who had the abilities. And by changing my environment, by changing the ease to my old program, my ease to my old habit, I had to create a new routine. I had to create a new way of doing things because it became too laborsome for me to go back and do work myself. Answer the camera if you can recognize that would be a very quick change. And there are other things in your life right now that you're making way too easy. How about the simple one that everybody has at some point experienced in their house, in their life, is that vice that you have, right? Whether it's the chips, everybody has something. There's something in your house. It could be wine, it could be alcohol, it could be snacks or fruit or whatever it is that you're supposed to be avoiding. And I say fruit because there is a lot of sugar in certain fruits. And the potato chips, right? This is one that gets me. If the chips aren't in the house, I don't eat the chips. If the chips are in the house, I'm going to eat chips. It's part of nature. So when we remove bad things from our environment, suddenly we can replace them with good positive things. When there's sticks of celery in the fridge and I'm looking for that little snack, I tend not to eat a snack anymore. I'm just like, I don't even want to deal with celery until I get hungry enough to go, and I'll go do something healthy, and I'll chop up the celery and then I'll go and I'll eat that during a movie or something. Has anybody noticed that? This is probably true for you too. You've seen one of these? Awesome. So we have these in our business all over the place. In your business right now, there are bad elements. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. This is a statement I learned from a book called The One Thing. Gary Keller wrote the book, and he was talking about how his environment itself was actually creating his results. It wasn't necessarily his willpower, because if you notice, willpower, we only get about 2 good hours of it per nap. 2 good hours per nap of willpower. And then after that, it starts to go down. It starts to degrade. In fact, they found that judges in courts, after 12 o'clock, the odds of you getting your case approved went down dramatically. I can't remember the numbers, but I want to say it was almost 40%. That after lunch, after 12, after they'd gone and eaten, they'd lost some of their willpower, and suddenly it was negative charges for everybody. It was just, you know what, I'm not going to go through it, whatever, just pass it through. Now, I don't want to judge the judge system, but wouldn't it make more sense to keep a judge in strong willpower, still deep dive into their cases so that you'll work out a better situation for yourself? But that's not common sense. Like, it's not common sense. It's not understood by the common people. And so there's systems all over the place where people are running out of willpower and they're not willing to go that extra mile. But we have it in our own lives. Willpower is a finite resource. It does improve after we've taken a nap. After you take some rest or you sleep, your willpower does recharge. So we can recharge it, but most people do not. Now, the environment itself will force you to do things. If willpower can't be relied on in the moment, in the sale, say you're taking appointments later on in the afternoon. Who here has ever gone to a listing or a seller appointment in the afternoon and noticed that they were a little more tired than if you'd gone early in the morning? Right? Early in the morning is the absolute best time for negotiations, or post nap is the best time for negotiations. Obviously, give yourself a little time to warm up from sleeping. That first 15 minutes, no willpower. It's very interesting. Has anybody noticed that the first 15 minutes of being awake, there's literally, do not ask them to make any decisions. It's not going to be good. But after that 15 minutes, once your mind starts going, maybe 30 minutes into it, you get to what we call a peak state. You're finally in this high energy, you're fully rested, you're thinking about things, you're operating very cleanly, very smoothly, and you're running on all cylinders. We want you making decisions in that state of mind. So I'm not going to say or encourage take naps, but that is one extra piece that can improve your life, is allow some space, allow some time for a recharge in the day. Allow some time, even a meditation session to clear your mind is the same effectiveness of taking a nap. So if you're one of those people who doesn't have time or space to take naps, then allow yourself a 15-minute to a 20, 30-minute meditation session. And this is not a meditation session to think of things. It's a meditation session to remove thoughts from your mind. Write that down. It's something that removes thoughts from your mind. There are other meditations where focusing on a desire or a goal or an ambition, and those are powerful and they're used for a different space. But for willpower recharges, meditation to release and let go of thoughts. Hands to the camera if we understand that there's a difference in meditations. Excellent. All right, so that's how you get your willpower back. But what if you wanted something that would ensure your willpower was there all the time, or at least you didn't need it? You didn't need to use the willpower. You could just operate off of, even in your worst willpower state, you'd still make the right decisions. Who thinks that's a great tool to use? Excellent. We all operate in a space. We're operating in a space at all times. And that space, believe it or not, is not common sense. It's right here. This is the space. This is where you operate. At any given point in the day, you're on your cell phone. This is where you spend more time than any other atmosphere or environment, your cell phone and your computer. Hands to the camera if you recognize that's true. Screen time in America right now is 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours. Every single day, people are spending in the screen, eyes on screen, which means that your environment is not what it used to be. It's not the office, although yes, the office is powerful, and we're going to talk about some ways you can improve your environment in your office, but this is how you double your income. Taking right action. Right action is the only way to increase your income. You've got to increase the value of your action, not necessarily the amount of actions done, but the quality of each action. And what I mean by that is if you want to make $1 million in one deal, one simple emphasis, one thing, go after a $5 million property that is purchased for $4 million, right? Or go after a $6 million property that you purchased for $5 million, or go after a $10 million property that you purchased for $9 million. That's one phone call. It's one phone call, one offer, one activity. Now you could also do the volume game, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like doing a lot of complex things. I like doing a lot of simple things like conversations, simple things like building systems that never have to be done again. But if you had to do the volume game, you'd have to do, I don't know, we'll say 20 flips. Hands to the camera if you know the average flips anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000 profit right now. So you'd have to be doing 20 to 40 flips in order to make that same $1 million. The environment you're hanging around with up here, the audiobooks you're listening to, the podcasts you're listening to, if you're listening to guys who are like volume flippers, you're going to only know the volume flip game. That's all you're going to think about is I got to flip more. I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to do more. But if you're listening to education and podcasts or books, or you've got affirmations that you're going through in your mind or on your phone that are talking about do one deal, do a bigger deal, right? Go and do something better. Do the same thing you've been doing, do it on a bigger scale, do it in a better way so that you can make more money from less work. See, I'm not of the school of doing more for the sake of doing more. I believe that there's plenty of people who can do those beginner deals. Going and doing the bigger, better deals are going to make you a lot more money. Hands to the camera if you recognize that's true. All right. We'd like to do an exercise for environment to improve their environment. Hands to the camera if you are ready to do an exercise, a life-changing exercise that will have an impact for the entire rest of your life. The first thing that you have to do in both physical locations. So if you want to clean up your office, by the way, this works. Every 3 months, I like to clean up, change something about my office. Change your environment, results will show. Even if you just change your environment with a new intention, you can have the same office, just move things around, but have a different intention of the office. You will have a different experience going forward. This is why with drug addicts, they'll actually move them to locations they've never lived in before so that they can create new habits in a new location. Remove your friends, remove the friends that you've been hanging out with because your friends are attached to old habits as well, subliminally. Did you know that you are the average of your 5 closest friends? Hands to the camera if you've heard this before. Excellent. So we're going to do an exercise that we're going to change our friends. So write down the income level that you would like. The income level that you would like. We're not going to talk about the past friends. That's just going to show you what you've already done. That's the exercise a lot of people walk you through. I don't like that one because that's just strengthening the past. Hence, camera, if you know, we don't want to strengthen the past. We want to go towards something new. So write down the income level that you would like, the ideal income level. And then underneath it, I want you to write 5 lines. 5 lines. And this is a homework session. This is homework. Under those 5 lines, these are my friends. So first, the income level you're looking for, 5 blank lines. And then underneath that, these are my new friends. This is your affirmation. These are my new friends.
Yeah, I texted.
This week, I want you to, it's all good, Terry. This week, I want you to go out and ask as many people as you have to what their income level is, what they earned the last 2 years, what the average income is, or what they intend to earn this year. But be very careful with intention. A lot of people intend to be a millionaire, but they never make it. It's all about what they have done. With this particular instance, it's what have they already done, because you're looking to attract existing mindset, existing network, existing philosophies. So as you're going through this week, I want you to be looking for, asking people what their income level is. This is going to be outside of the box. You're not going to be comfortable here. And if you are, awesome, excellent. But ask people what their income is and write it down on a list. Write down this person income. If they're under the mark you're looking for, if they're far enough under the mark, maybe 10, 20% under, this is somebody that you do not want to spend a massive amount of time with. They can be a client, absolutely. You can work with them, but you want to be aiming, reaching up. This is a very, very important principle. You're going to be changing your environment by identifying these 5 people. The next step underneath this is, how can I spend more time with them? How can I spend more time with them? What do we do together? Could be the sentence you put underneath this. The other way to look at this is, what do they do? What do they do? How can I do more of what they're doing? Whether it's their free time, they're having fun, or it's their business. Another mistake that I've seen made is people think that, okay, this person golfs a lot, I got to go golf with them. It could be easier just to start doing business with them. When I identified high earning real estate investors, I started finding them deals. When I identified high earning real estate agents, I started sending them leads. I would connect with them, find a way to add value to their existing business. So they then invited me out to their different social events, their networking events, or their golfing events. Does that make sense? We can earn while we connect with these higher level people. The first time I did this, I was with Tom Caffarella, and I just looked him in the eyes. I never said a word to him, but I was thinking, I was like, dude, I'm gonna make you so rich. I'm gonna be your top agent. I want to be the guy who brings you all the deals, who closes all the deals that you send me out on. And I held that thought so powerfully in my head, to the point where we were on a texting relationship. Even now, if I message him, he'll respond back. And he's a very, very busy entrepreneur, very busy investor, who does over 100 flips a year, 100 purchases, flips. He's doing big, massive deals. But in the beginning, I was just another one of his 300 agents. No reason to have a conversation with me. Does that make sense? So don't worry about what exists currently or your past. We're talking about the future here. This is changing your environment in a very, very powerful way. The other thing I led up to was that your cell phone is where you spend most of your time. Now, before we get to the cell phone, your office, where you spend your working hours, how is your office empowering you or disempowering you? When you sit down at your desk, does it encourage you to do tasks that cost money or make money? And when I say cost money, I mean waste time, right? If you're not efficient with your time, you're actually losing money. You're spending just time that could have been valued earning money. So be very, very cautious with how your desk is set up, with how your room is set up, with where the lighting is. If you're constantly adjusting things, this is a waste of time. If the scenery that you're looking at around or on your desktop screens or on your desk is creating confusion, is creating anxiety, is creating a mess in your head, it's going to slow you down. If the activity your desk is set up for is not an empowering activity, then it's going to take time away from you. Is this making sense? I'll give you an example. I've seen people who have multiple tabs open on their screens. We as human beings can only do one thing at a time. We don't have the ability to multitask. We don't. That fallacy has been out there for a long time. Multiple tabs. I can understand, because I operate with 3 monitors, I can understand having 3 things open if 2 are reference points and 1 is an activity space. Sometimes I'll blog and I'll pull up multiple information and I'll reference back. And that's okay, because you need those references to go and take activity. But if you're having, let's say your credit report is up, your crypto account is up, your stock account is up, you're researching 3 different topics for 3 different elements, and you're leaving them up because you need them later, you're hurting yourself mentally, you're slowing yourself down. You're not doing one task anymore. So a tool that I use is something called Evernote. Evernote is where I store all of my to-dos later research I want to get into, topics I would like to know more about, tasks I have to do. And I'll take the link, drop it in there with a little description of what it is. And over time, you'll get a little more organized. You get research notes. You can have tasks that need to be completed. You can have high-level tasks, low-level tasks, money-earning tasks, relationship tasks. There's all sorts of things that we're constantly holding up on our screens and our phones that could be organized in a nice way so that when you have research time, you can go back and tackle it. Hence, the camp recognize this would save a ton of time. Absolutely. But the most valuable asset is your attention. If your attention is spent in powerful things, you're going to have powerful results. Now, the desk is amazing. I love my desk. I love it set the way it's set up. My desk is an empowering desk for podcasting and creating content. I'm a content creator. It is my highest and best use, is create the assets that other people can leverage. My second most valuable asset, which I have mostly outsourced at this point, is putting the content where it can be seen. So if a tree falls in the woods and nobody is there to hear it, does it make a noise? Well, content is even more powerful. If you have the greatest video, the most epic, shareable, amazing content, and you put it nowhere, does it make a noise? Does it exist? Is it even real? If you go out to an amazing event, you have an amazing experience, you're networking with all of these people, but you didn't grab their contact information, did that event even happen? Not in my opinion. It's not real. So you have to have places to track contacts, and you have to have an environment that forces you to do the things that you know are the right things to do. As soon as I walk into my office, I see the desk set up for a podcast. I see the desk set up for recording content. The green screen's ready to go. Everything is lined up. The day before I line up, I write down the notes of what I'm going to talk about, and boom, I get in. The environment forces me to do what I'm supposed to do. Does that make sense? Excellent. What are my content creators? People who know they should be creating more content to get more influence for their business. Yes. More clients, more customers. Awesome. More sellers. Excellent. I have about 15 topics that I'm supposed to talk about any given day. They don't change. My topics of influence are the same every day. I just say them differently, or I create different ways of presenting them. But my 15 topics are always going to be the same. Those are in an Evernote. I can pull that up at any given time. But if I have to pull it up and I haven't decided the day before what I'm going to do, that takes time. So the day before, when I'm not creating content, I decide, what is my topic tomorrow? What are my 3 topics? And then bang through them as soon as I get to my desk. It makes a lot of sense for me. Hands to the camera if you know you could do this with your phone calls. You could do this with any aspect in your business, with the relationships you're supposed to be building, with if you're writing blogs, if you're calling contractors, if you've got all sorts of different things on your list, they're going to be a mess. But if you have them set up in an order, set up in a order of power, order of willpower as well, by the way, start the day with the most difficult task. Creating video is my most anxiety-inducing task that I do every day. So I start early. It's the first thing I did. This morning, I woke up at 7 o'clock. I went and I posted a bunch of reels. First thing I did, because that can be the most complex mind thing for me to do throughout the day. Most difficult energy consumer. I don't wait till the afternoon, because by then I might not do it. Hence, camp, you know how that works. And if I do it, I might not have the same level of energy, the same thoughts. So environment is powerful. This cell phone constantly running at all times. Clear up your icons. I have icons on my phone that are my action money-making icons. I've identified them. They're page 1. Page 2, they're important icons, but they don't make me money. They recapture money, right? Their relationship building, their follow-up. But if I had all my phone, front of my phone, all the messages that come through, all the emails that come through, all the phone calls that come through, dude, I would never get to anything important. I would never get to creating new contacts, new relationships. So the second page is where all of the follow-up stuff is. Now it's important, and I got to swipe over to get to the second page. But that is an intentional decision. It's a move to the next page of it's that time of day to follow up and respond to people. Is this making sense? Who has not done that? Who has literally the opposite on their phone? Where they get on the phone, and it's like all the problems right there, notifications immediately. Yeah. How crazy does that make you feel when you start the day and you're like, oh my God, so much shit to do? Right.
It's suffocating.
It's suffocating. Absolutely. So if your environment is more powerful than willpower, there is one thing more powerful in your environment than any of the physical things that we just put out. It is the people in your life. We talked a little bit earlier about this task I want you to go out through and create for the rest of this week is find your ideal 5 people. The friends you're with, your business relationships, your spouse, your kids, those 5 relationships, the most powerful ones that you spend the most time with, who have influence over you, are going to dictate your income. They are going to decide how much you make. Those 5 relationships are the biggest single factor in your life about every aspect of your life. You've heard one of the wealth principles is how you do anything is how you do everything. Change the 5 people you hang with, and you will change your life entirely. Change the 5 people you look up to, admire, spend time with, love, appreciate, care about, and you will change your life entirely. It will be a completely different life. Within 6 months to a year, you will not recognize the past life, depending on how dramatic the changes and the people that you're connecting with. Hands to the camera if you know that's true. Excellent. So for everybody who has not been through the mentorship, who has not been through our Real Estate Alchemist mentorship program, you have no idea how amazing your life can be and how much change you can experience when you start hanging around people who are like-minded, people who are in the growth mindset, people who are supporting you, people who are looking to take you to the next level. For 8 weeks, we put you all together in a group, all people who've decided to change their lives at the same time for 8 weeks, start moving forward and taking the right actions. Hands to the camera if you are in the mentorship or are a graduate of the mentorship or you're in Alchemist Mastery. Awesome. Let's give our alchemists a round of applause. In this community, you put together deals. In the mentorship, you learn the habits, you learn the processes of being successful, and it takes 21 days to build habits. So we spend 60 days together. We make sure the first 21 days are learning the habits. The second 21 days are implementing the habits. And the third 21 days are ensuring that those are cemented into your mind, changing your environment so that your environment is more effective. We then jump on the 52 Weeks to Wealth every single Saturday to take in a new lesson, to spend time with our new friends. We have on this call multi-millionaires, millionaires. The coaches are people who have been successful in their business, successful in life, and many of them successful in their relationships. And we leverage spending time with them in these calls so that we can attract in almost through osmosis, gain some of their mindset. Hands to the camera if you know that's how it works. I remember listening to Bigger Pockets. I felt like Brandon Turner was my best friend, right? Because I'd heard him so many times, listened to what he was saying so many times, Brandon Turner and Josh Dorkin. I'd be like, man, like these guys are my new besties. That's why my income continuously grows, because I'm hanging out with people who are thinking bigger. I'm listening, even if I'm not physically hanging out with them, I am. I'm obsessed with. I know their lifestyle. I know what they're doing. I'm thinking about what they're doing. I'm learning what they're learning. Hands to the camera if you recognize this is how you build relationships with people who are way, way above you, unattainable for now, until they aren't, until you get to the point where you are able to attain those relationships. Hold those, because at some point you found a way to add value to them. Impossible to add value to people you haven't thought about. You want to make a lot of money, you got to commit to people. You want to make a whole lot of money, you got to commit to people who have a whole lot of money. It's the easiest path to increasing your income. Find somebody with a lot of money and serve them. Find somebody with a lot of money and a simple problem that you can solve, or a problem that can be learned how to be solved. Because people make more money, what are they looking for? OPT, other people's time. And they are willing to pay other people for their time. The more money a person has, the more time they want. It's not more money we're chasing. We're chasing more time. We're chasing better quality time with people that we love, people we care about, people who make us feel better, who inspire us. So if you haven't joined the mentorship yet, but you're looking to get more time back, more freedom, you're looking to get to the next level, Doreena's going to put her Calendly link in the chat. Schedule a conversation with her. Find out if the mentorship is right for you. And Doreen is very good at identifying people who don't want to make more. She says, nope, this isn't the one for you. People who don't want a better life, she's like, they're disqualified, not even interested. But if you want more, if you know you're capable of becoming a millionaire, or at least you want to become a millionaire, you have the desire, you have the ability to learn, a desire to learn, and you're willing to put yourself in an uncomfortable position, hanging out with new people, strangers. All the money I've ever earned came from strangers. And then they became friends. And then we built deeper relationships and build businesses together. So if you want to get to that point where you're in a very good community that is growing, that is expanding, that is building their wealth, doubling their income, doubling their worth, look no further. Join the mentorship. We're here for you. You can go to gualtermerlo.com/mentorship or mentor, and you can get access that way. But I'd strongly suggest have a conversation with Dorina. Find out if it's right for you. Hands to camera, if you know, Dorina is probably the sweetest person on the planet. She'll be honest with you. She'll tell you. Excellent. Now, every one of these lessons is attached to a book, and there's a very powerful book that I think most of us have read because we've all been in this community for a very long time now. We've gone through the 52 weeks. We've gone through the 52 books. This is our second time through it. Wealth Principle 41 is no stranger. Hands to the camera if you have already been through Wealth Principle 41 last year. If you already did this Wealth Principle with us, let's give our OGs, our original gangsters, a round of applause. You may be wondering, why do they do it twice? Well, because last year they were making 100,000. This year they're going after $250,000. Or last year they were earning $1 million. This year they're going after $2 million. Does that make sense? The wealth principles are principles of wealth. To get to a certain level, we had to apply them at a certain way. To get to the next level, we take the same principles and apply them at bigger scale with bigger teams, with bigger jobs, with bigger deals we're doing. And we apply those principles again, changing our environment again, so that we can get it to the next level. Without further ado, Michael Shine, the keeper of the books, please bring us this week's book.
Thanks, Walter. Book of the week is The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. This book has a special, special place in my heart. First of all, if you've been listening to me do these quote unquote reviews, you would know that I love a book that has a great story. So I'm not going to ruin the story, but Hal Elrod's story will blow your mind. It is so awesome. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but he comes to find out that if he picks the morning habits of all the people that he studied, he came up with these things called lifesavers. Rather than having one morning ritual, he has 6 morning rituals, gets up an hour earlier and starts crushing it. And when Brendan and I started practicing the Miracle Morning, our whole lives changed, like turned on a dime. So this book is unbelievable. His story is amazing. The life savers is what he calls them. Savers is an acronym for silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing or writing. It's an amazing book. I highly recommend it. It'll change your life. I had no plan in the morning. I had no plan every day until I found the Miracle Morning. And after that, it changed my environment because I woke up with intention. And so you will suddenly wake up with intention, and it's amazing. So Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod. Oh, one pro tip, read the original. Don't read all the ones about Miracle Morning for realtors or for entrepreneurs. Not as good as the original. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I do have a friend who wrote the Miracle Morning for salespeople. He's a good friend of mine. But, I had him on the podcast a little while back, and Ryan will take that with a grain of salt. He doesn't mind. So let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. Each week, we discuss one of the books, and the book was addressed to the wealth principle itself. So these books line up with the wealth principle, change your environment, read the Miracle Morning. And one of the pro tips I'll throw with this book is it doesn't have to be the morning. You may be a night person. I line up my night very perfectly, very intentionally, not perfect. Nothing is perfect. That's how you create anxiety. I create my night very intentionally so that the next day I just hit the ground running so that my night going into it. Go ahead.
Yeah, just Hal Elrod does address that. So if you're a night owl, he does say that it's just what worked for him. But if you're a third shift person, obviously you're not going to be getting up at 6 a.m. or whatever. So yeah.
Miracle Midnight.
It can be Miracle Midnight. And if you want to know what my addition to Miracle Midnight is, I follow all the steps of savers, except I like to do it at night because my mind is thinking about it as I sleep. So when I wake up, boom, I'm just able to move because my mind's been thinking about it all night long. And I don't know if there's a right or wrong way because he's been successful. Many entrepreneurs love the mornings, and there's just as many entrepreneurs who do the nights. So do what works for you. Hands to the camera if this was a valuable wealth principle. If you intend to apply it this week. Excellent. Excellent. Hands to the camera if you know you have a millionaire mind. You have the ability to become a millionaire. Excellent. For those of you who don't know, I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. You can take a look around. Many of us are already wearing the shirts. If you're wearing one of the shirts, get it in the camera. 100 millionaires, mission to millions. And the strategy we do it is put our names on deeds, because the point is not to work, it's to generate income. And if you've been working hard your whole life, excellent. This is for you. You'll learn how to apply the time that you're working in a much better way. And if you're looking to make life a little bit easier, excellent. This is for you, because hard work is not the solution to success. It is intentional work. It is right work. It is doing the right thing the right way at the right time. Cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best. All right.
Well.
Okay. Coaches, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to give some pro tips for today's wealth principle? Awesome. Let's start with Dr. Terry Wager. I see the mic is already unmuted.
You know, I like this principle, and what it reminds me of 25 years ago, 26 years ago, in fact, just a few weeks ago, I celebrated 26 years sober. And they told me when I first got sober that you only got to change one thing, and that's everything. And then they broke it down. Really, the whole idea is emotion plus imagination. Write this down. Emotion plus imagination beats willpower every time. And so you have to set yourself up for success. I heard this 26 years ago, and it's one of the staples of what's kept me moving in the right direction. And you got to work to make sure your environment is intentionally set up for success. And for me, the environment is three things. One, the map of where you're at. They said you have to change where you're at. You can't keep going to the same places and think something's going to happen. If you keep going to the barber shop, sooner or later, you're going to get a haircut. If you keep going to the bar, you're going to end up drinking. So you got to change your environment. Then you got to change your relationships, who you're hanging out with. Because as we've all heard, those 5 friends. Now, when Walter was talking about that today, he said, new friends, not the people we hang out with. I would love more than anything to put Walter and Mike and Mitch and Doug down on my list, but I already know them. We need to level up. New relationships. In generator coaching, we talk about new money. We got to talk about new relationships, because that's what's going to move us forward. And then the third thing is our head. The third thing is our head, our emotions and our thinking. We are either reactive or we're intentional. And so we have to change and create that emotional and thought place for success. And Michael Shine, if you've ever been over to his house, oh my God, he has set that place up for success. Everywhere you look, there's money. Everywhere you look, there's positivity. Everywhere you look, there's moving forward. And so think about that when you're thinking about this principle. It's changing your map, where you're at, changing your thoughts, how you're thinking about things, and changing the people to leveling up.
Let's give Dr. Terry Wager a round of applause. Such a powerful, powerful principle from somebody who's been through one of the most life-changing experiences, which is AA, getting off of a bad addiction and changing your entire life to now he's able to help, people all over the country, thousands of people, and move them forward, not just in their life situations, but in their finances, in their businesses. It really, your transformation can be just as huge when you decide to make a difference in the world. Suddenly you don't have a choice to be the old person. You've got to be a whole new person. And unfortunately, it does come with a lot of money. When you decide to help a lot of people, you will unfortunately earn a lot of money. Hands to the camera if you're okay with that. You're okay with earning large sums of money. Excellent. Dorina, because I like to make sure I remember to put you right in the front. You're up next.
Good morning. As you were talking, I was still writing down what Terry was saying. It was very powerful. Made sure that I got everything. And it made me think about the thoughts. So when it's been a year since we moved to Florida with Walter. And the first thing we we decided to do when we got into a complete empty apartment is to order whiteboards. That was so important. Okay, which one, what size are we ordering? Okay, how many? And we have a ton of it now because we, as we grow, can wipe it off, like put new thoughts, add brainstorming sessions on it. It's all over our house now. And it's like, okay, time to grow. Okay, wipe it off. Oh, what else? So we just got out of this frame bikini event, powerful. And okay, what are we gonna write down now? Because as we pass through our house, we can see it, we can stop by, look at it, and contemplate and kind of retrain our mind to think bigger, better, and stronger. And I think your thoughts, it's your number one environment, like within you. It's what you think about that you create around yourself. So watch your thoughts, train your thoughts, and like don't be afraid to think bigger, because you got to level up at some point, and this is the time. This is the best time to do it with the right people, with the right community. So
Let's give Darina a round of applause. The Russian princess knows what she's talking about. She is at ground zero when it comes to me deciding to make a change in our lives. We pushed hard for the summit. We had affirmations, we had ideas, we had strategies, we had things we had to do every single day to make sure the summit was an amazing event. Hands to the camera if you were at the 100 Millionaire Summit this year for 2021. It was amazing. 2022 is going to be even bigger, even crazier, even more powerful and impactful. Get it on your calendar now. October, the third week of October, Darina, is that correct? It's already set.
It's practically the same week in October 21st through 23rd. So if you are listening, write it down, block your calendar. It will be the same hotel.
Same hotel, Florida hotel. So that event, the whole house was focused on it. Everything in our life and our house was focused on the 100 Millionaire Summit for the last 3 months prior to the event. Everything, marketing, everything was so intense and focused. As soon as the summit was over, when we finally came back after our party, after hanging out with all of our friends for the 2 days that we stayed back in Orlando, we got home. The first thing we did, wipe the whiteboards. Every single whiteboard had to be addressed. Everything had to be adjusted and changed because we have now a new intention. We're setting new goals, a new ambition for 2022. And in fact, even for this next quarter, our goals are very different. Hands to the camera if you know you could change your environment as simply as wiping the whiteboards. Absolutely. Absolutely. Next up, let's go to Doug McGurk, who's on the backyard, front yard, selling some
Front
stuff,
yard,
slinging.
yeah. There you go. Pretty exciting.
Awesome. How are you and Ellie doing over there with the yard sale?
Ellie is crushing it. She's not budging much on the hagglers. She's doing good. And then when she's like, I don't like when people try and offer me less.
Yeah,
So
she's a strong salesperson. She
Oh, yeah.
emotionally is already like, no, you pay the price.
Yeah. She was correcting their math. It was good. Slowing
Mike Shane
down
just
now.
dropped in the chat that Gary Vee will be there soon. If you have any baseball cards, you can put them out for Gary Vee.
Awesome. I do actually. I think I have some coming up from down from New York next week. Yeah. So the environment is key. This principle I've applied since I was about 16 or 17 when I first got into Tony Robbins. And when I decided music was going to be my life, I put myself in an environment, challenged myself. I worked for free as an intern and worked my way up to staff producer, winning Grammys with Celine Dion and J-Lo and like all these great things. But it was because putting myself in that environment, I picked up on the strategies, the mind process, the thoughts, to Terry's point, right? Like just being sure that I'm picking all of that up. And I learned to ask those kinds of questions like, well, how did you do this? What did you do when you were told no? Or how did you navigate that? And then I applied that same exact principle to essentially get the gig with Tony, on the road with Tony, and hanging out and, surrounding myself with people on that level. And then continued from there. I mean, heck, we hung out last night or the other night with Frank McKinney, and that, like, these are our, our buds. These are the people we hang with and pick up on their psychology and all of that. And I go another pro tip, as you know, where you were at charity events. That's what that was. That was a charity event. And tell me, was that full of ballers?
Every person in that room was earning over $250,000 a year. Every single person in that room was within, I'd say within that 200 to $250,000 to $1 million range, because they were ballers, and ballers after a certain point want to give back. So Doug, pro tip, hang out in better rooms.
Yeah, that's one of the best ways for, like, basically for everything. Because generally speaking, people who want to, provide opportunity for others and do it in a charitable way are generally speaking pretty good people to hang with. They're very generous of spirit, and they're also generous with resources. So they're the people who, would say, oh, you have an idea. Oh, this is great. I'd love to help you. And they'll provide resources, whether it be money, advice, opportunity. It could be anything. So probably the best hack, and to Terry's point as well, when we talk about the emotions plus imagination, the best hack is surround yourself with people, and because you are the people you hang with. So hang with people who are thinking differently than you are, and you will start adopting your thoughts by proxy. It's a way to, other than consciously, program yourself naturally. So yeah, it's game changer, 100%. So love it. Just like this community, just being in this community for many is the first step to creating that new pattern, those new rituals of hanging with people who are getting the results that you want. And I'll just leave you with this. Hang out with people. It's funny, and I didn't steal this from Frank, but hang out with people who their normal is what you aspire to.
Let's give Doug McGurk a round of applause. And that is a write this down moment. Hang out with people whose normal is what you aspire to. Their normal is what you aspire to. In the Alchemist community, in the Alchemist Nation, once you get into the mentorship, you start noticing that the people in this community have made their normal to put in offers every single week. They've made their normal to read a book every single week. They've made their normal to reach up to new levels, to reach up to new relationships. And they've made their normal to go out and be known, to be seen, to be heard, so that people know what they're selling and are working with them. One of the side effects of making a lot of money, making a lot of relationships, is that you get more resources. You get more people who know a different thing. And so what Doug just said, where we're in these events, we're in these charity events, and it could be also a success event. Anything that you've paid to be in the room is a great room to be in. The more you pay, the better it is, because it's a quality, it's a qualifier. Only certain people of a certain income, of a certain belief in that event are going to show up. So you now have that level of thinking, that level of idea in the same room. Those are the people you want to connect with. So those people are there for an intention. Those people are there to move you forward. They have also other people who've been connected with them at other events. And you may find that the realtor you're looking for, that the attorney you're looking for, the lender, the coach you're looking for is a referral from somebody in those rooms. Very, very powerful aspect is upgrade your friends. And the way to upgrade your friends is first focus on the best, then surround yourself with the best, and you'll become one of the best. Find out where the best are hanging out and go hang out where they are. And eventually you'll be able to create some of those relationships you're looking for. Mitch Jorsky was also at the event with us, and I know he's got his crypto event coming up where it will be crypto mindset. All of our crypto investors will be in the room, and the people who aspire to be crypto investors. So Mitch Jorsky, what is your take on Wealth Principle 41?
So much, so many good things. Honestly, there's like 7 stories I want to share, but we don't have time for all that. And I was also scrambling to find a quote about, your new life and your old life. And if I find it, I'll share it out. But I read it once, I think maybe last year's on this call. But yeah, that environment thing is so absolutely true. And, I don't know, like, it's almost like kind of a laugh between me and my mom, but like, she knows I moved from New York to Florida to get away from my family. And it sounds messed up, but I knew that the only way I was going to change was to not be around that every day. And those of you in this room that know me, you think I'm like this outgoing, like energetic, like positive guy. And my best friend's dad used to call me Charlie Brown growing up because I was that woe is me, cloud over my head, everything's wrong, victim. Like, so to get away from these habits, I want to get away from, that environment. And don't get me wrong, awesome family. My family's great, but they're negative in terms of they see what's wrong with things instead of what's right, complaining instead of, gratitude. So I was just like, I am going to take this job in Florida and grow. And it worked. I mean, I don't think anyone in this room would ever call me Charlie Brown. So, what Doug was talking about, just a few minutes ago, I mean, it's so freaking true. Like, you got to change your environment if you want to make a major change. And, when you do that, you may lose your old life or some of your old life, which means you may lose old friends. But, if they're essentially dragging you down, are they really friends in the end? Right? So it's all about putting yourself in that environment where you can grow. And the same thing holds true, not just even, so like, that's an example of growing just, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, right? Then you talk about the financial thing, right? Well, we go to real estate networking events. Why? Because we want to network with people that are in real estate, right? That are doing what we want to do or doing what we are doing, right? And then we find connections, and then we do deals and we find partners. And like, I'm going to a in-person event in about an hour that I've been running with a friend of mine for 5 years. There's at least 4 or 5 people off the top of my head I know that met their partner at that event, and over the last 3 or 4 years have crushed it. Like, 50 units, 100 units, 150 units. So be in the rooms, with the environment that you want. And as much as we think information is the answer, because we're in the information age, it still really goes back to a lot of, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So put yourself in the right rooms. And also remember, if you're the smartest, most successful person in the room, you need to find another effing room.
Let's give Mitch Jorsky a round of applause. So dangerous, so dangerous. If you are the smartest person, the richest person in the room, the person with the most love in the room, you're in the wrong room. It's good to give while you're there. It's good to share. It's good to teach and help people aspire. But don't spend your entire life there. You still have to level up. You've got to get into another room. Be willing to pay. Be willing to be uncomfortable. Be willing to get out of your comfort zone. Mitch, I see your hand up. You got more?
I have one last thing to add to that. Speaking of getting in the right room, if you want to go from crypto clueless to crypto crushing it, I might be your guy. I got a little bit of experience over the last 6 years. So Monday night, 6 p.m. workshop, and you'll get where you need to be.
He is your guy. It's not a might. He is your guy. Show up.
And this is not a thing to avoid. This is not a weekly thing. This is literally one time a year he will be going through this workshop. And this is the time in the market for you to understand crypto. I'm telling you, as somebody who's invested myself, Mike's invested, Terry's invested, Mitch is, all the coaches, actually, everybody on this call who is a coach and a millionaire is invested in crypto right now because it makes sense. There is a right way to do it, and there's a lot of wrong ways to do it. We call these mistakes giving our sacrifice to the crypto gods. I've given my sacrifice. Mitch has given his. Mike's given his. Hopefully, many of the coaches have not had to lose money to the ether for making foolish mistakes that we could have easily avoided by just talking to Mitch and getting things done the right way. Crypto is a good investment if done right. Go ahead, Terry.
Really quick, it's totally funny because I got involved in crypto about maybe 2-3 years ago, way before I met Mitch, and I didn't pay attention to a lot of the things that he teaches that are very, very important, like keeping keys and knowing who you're investing with and all of the different things and just the direction that you're getting. I got into a group kind of like what Mitch is doing, but they weren't really solid. And I've got money in crypto I can't get to. And so pay attention to Mitch, get with him, listen to what he has to say and follow the directions. It's so much better when you follow the directions.
It works a lot better when you follow the directions. So Mitch, if you could drop that into the Facebook Live as well, it's scaredycatguide.com/workshop. There is, shocker, there is a barrier to entry called a price. You will have to pay to get into this room. Fortunately, you'll be in a room with other people who are learning. So it's a good room to be in. It is a virtual room just like this, and contact information is easy to attain via messaging people. And I'm sure that Mitch will create another opportunity after the call where people who were at the event, this is only people who are at the workshop, will be able to contact him and ask him questions and likely follow some of the tips and tricks that he is doing, things that me and Mike are asking him constantly for. So it's a great opportunity for people who are looking to get to the right room when it comes to crypto. Who should I pick next? Let's see.
You should
Ryan
pick Mike
McDermott.
Shine.
Oh, I'm sure Ryan's going to go play a soccer game. So I want to make sure I get him first, and then we'll clean it up with Mike. Ryan, you're up.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, I got a lot. It was kind of a twofold sort of realization for me in this lesson. One, the surrounding yourself with people is huge. I mean, I can tell you when I started off in business, I had so much energy and I was running and I ran right into a brick wall. And the reason I ran into a brick wall was because not only was I not surrounded with the right people, I was surrounded by nobody. There was too much hubris in my mind to allow me to be vulnerable with other people as it relates to my business, and to surround myself with mentors and coaches. And it just, and it took struggling for many years to the point where I had to partner with people and pull in the right partners, and then eventually sort of get the right training and coaches to do that. I learned things very slowly and sometimes the hard way. I'm trying to change that in my life. And so what I would say is, if you're struggling a little bit, it's definitely, it's about surrounding yourself with the right people. That's usually the answer. And then I mean, the other realization from, just you sort of going through some of the examples, when you talked about like somebody who has a busy screen, I think I compared my screen to the acne I had in high school. It was anywhere and everywhere. If you look, I've got 4 screens and there's just stuff all over it. It looks like a high school kid with acne. And that is almost to take that even further. When I wake up in the morning, like I have an amazing life, but my morning is just like struggle city. And it's because I wake up like a teenager, because I don't have a routine. I'm confused and not sure what I should be doing. And it takes me, I have to sort of evolve throughout the day to my middle-aged self, where I could be a little bit more strategic. And that's because I've not read the book of the week, and I will read that book. Anyway, I'm going off like Inspector Deck over here. I'm going to let it go. Thank you very much.
Let's give Ryan McDermott a round of applause. He is a Series 7 financial planner. He knows what it takes to become a millionaire because he's helped build many millionaires over his career. He's seen what works. He's seen what doesn't work. And the advice he gives comes from a place of knowledge, comes from a place of literally, this is what he does every day for a living. So I love listening to Ryan's take on these wealth principles as he continues to level himself up from millionaire to multimillionaire to pentamillionaire. Hands to the camera if you know this game doesn't stop. It just keeps going as you keep growing. Hell yeah. Awesome. The great Michael Shine, keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, our closer. What is your take on Wealth Principle 41?
Hey, thanks, Walter. When Terry was talking about my environment, I have 2 people in my life to thank for that. Brenda is the one that put $100 bills all over a dining room table and then covered it in a plastic. So I see $100 bills all around. And then she also put affirmations all over the kitchen, all over my mirrors in the bathroom. The glass shower has more affirmations on it. And so that's amazing to have a partner who does that. But then also, Walter, I have to give you, I love to give you credit, because I've been to Walter's house in Fall River that he used to have before he moved. And it's amazing. Well, Dorina was talking about the whiteboards. It'll blow your mind how much motivation there is. And he's always talking about feng shui. And so I have these like little Bitcoins that are around, and I have billion-dollar bills there's tons of them. And this is all because I saw Gwalter doing it, and I was like, yeah. I mean, obviously, he's got a lot more than I do, and he's got it all set up with feng shui. So I've got something to aspire to. Frank McKinney, aspire. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Anyways, so we got billion-dollar bills. Keep it all around. It keeps me happy, motivated, pumped up. And then the other side of that is the people, because we've been talking about the people. For me, it is this alchemist community, because I've met so many wonderful people here, and nobody in this community allows a Debbie Downer. We just don't. So it's just amazing. If you go negative, we turn the corner and say, let's go positive with that one. And that's had an amazing effect in my life, and really attributed to my leveling up. I absolutely love this community. Very different from other friends that I've had in my life. And so Alchemist Nation is just, I talk about you guys all the time. I always have to say it's led by this guy, Gwalter. That's like Walter with a GU. I don't know how many times I have to explain this, but yeah, amazing community, and it's really leveled up my life. So that's my take. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine a round of applause. I love it. Who here has also experienced that? Give yourselves a round of applause. You're what makes this community 10 times better is your continued work on yourself, that continued aspiration to be a better person, a bigger person, to do things in an easier manner that is far more effective and helps more people. If the scenario isn't win-win-win, it isn't worth our time, or it's not done. And one more principle I've been working on with my own personal life and with Dorina and sharing with our friends is you have not earned the right to go to sleep until you've gotten into a highly powerful state of gratitude. Until you feel amazing about your life, until you're thankful for your life, until you're thankful for the things you're doing, do not go to sleep yet. You haven't earned it. Gratitude and sleep combined means an amazing morning the next day. Your day begins when you go to bed, and your life begins when you go to bed, when you get into that great state of gratitude and that intention to make your life better, to make the life of the people around you better. I'm so thankful for each one of you. Your success is our success. As we continue to grow, as you continue to grow, I know that each one of you is on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. I appreciate your dedication to yourselves and the people you're going to serve. Let's give our coaches a round of applause. These ladies and gentlemen are crushing it. They give so much, they share so much, and they build so much in their communities, in their businesses, and then they come back and they take their time to donate with us. It means so much to me. Thank you, guys. I want to open it up to anybody on the call. Anybody has the ability to now just unmute your mic, share something that was a good win for you, or share a question. If there's something you'd like to ask one of the coaches, this is your chance. You can also drop it in the chat if you don't feel comfortable with the microphone. But if you don't feel comfortable with the microphone, here's what I'll say. I would stop that. So unmute the mics. First one unmute gets to share their opinion of the wealth principle or share a question. Go ahead.
No question. Just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to join in with you all today. I am a new investor. My name is Beverly Garrett, and so I'm changing the environment that I've always been in. And just listening to you guys and ladies, it's just really exciting. I am pleased to be a part of it. I hope to be able to get to Florida to the summit. So thank you, and thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
Let's give Beverly a round of applause. Beverly, any questions about real estate, you can ask us anytime via Facebook or Instagram. And also go to gwalteramarillo.com every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We get on, we talk about how to find off-market deals, how to negotiate deals, how to evaluate deals. Monday night is our hub for real estate investors looking to level up and sharpen the technical skills, even though the mindset stuff is where all the money is. Thank you, Beverly. Great question. Or actually, great affirmation. Thank you. What else? Unmute the mic. This is your chance, your time.
This is Ankur from Sacramento, and I'm really nowhere a big time investor. I just started and with few $1,000, $400,000, but just I'm really excited to be part of this community because I'm learning a lot. I'm very confused. I will be very honest to invest anywhere right now. I'm going everywhere to learn everything. So it's good to be part of this community. Hopefully I will get some clear directions or some good mentorship.
Let's give Encore a round of applause. You're in a great state. You're in a great market to invest. I may talk a lot of shit about California, but I know people out there who are absolutely crushing it. And Sacramento is a great market. It's just doing it the right way. So any questions you have, bring them to the Monday night and we'll help you out. We'll go into the deals a little bit more deeper. Let's give Encore one more round of applause. Thank you, brother. What else? This is your chance to share something or to ask a question. Your opportunity, especially for our alchemists, people who are in the community and the mentorship. I know you always have access to us, and you know about our secret time where we get together and you can ask questions on Saturday. So
I have a question.
Go ahead, Julie. Oh, the great Julie Bradley.
Yes.
The keeper of the books. Well, our bookkeeper. Almost like Mike Shine.
Sorry, I'm not on the video share, but I'm splitting my attention with grandma duties. So, but Mike, I signed a contract this week, an assignment contract for a flip, and the contractor was telling me there's a A&R rule in the city, approval not required to subdivide the land. Has anyone ever heard of that? Does that even exist?
You know, I've never heard of an A&R approval not required to split the land. I've heard people say, well, it was different parcels at one point. They got put together and you're not going to have to get approval. I have found that not to be true. And we always have to get approval to the city to split land. So take that information with a grain of salt, go to the city, ask them what needs to be done.
Okay, perfect.
And I see Mike Shine's giving the thumbs
answers
up on that. So he's an attorney. He knows you have to split the land via whatever rules the city has.
Oh, yes. And Mike Shine is my attorney, by the way. Thank you, Mike.
Mine too. Let's give Julie Bradley a round of applause. Great
Julie.
question. Are there other questions, Julie? Excellent. Who else?
That's it. That's it for now until I get deeper into the transaction.
Excellent.
Congrats,
I know
Julie.
Mike's
I'm
just
proud of
sent me
you.
an email away, so.
Well done. If you don't know, Julie Bradley does the books for both of our companies, and she's an amazing bookkeeper. If you haven't gotten to the point of getting a bookkeeper to automate the back end of your business, either you're not making enough or you don't value your time enough. So increase income and then go get a bookkeeper. I highly recommend Julie Bradley. She's absolutely amazing. Has done an awesome job for us so far. And she's also buying real estate. So she understands what you're doing and what your business looks like because she's also an investor. One more round of applause for Julie Bradley. What else? What would you like to share or ask while we are all on the call? You got all the coaches here. It's a great opportunity. And we'll hang out maybe another 4 or 5 minutes if there are no questions, but I'd like to see.
Walter,
Go ahead.
what was the name of the, I can't remember his name. Is it Josh who was in the mentorship, who's in Sacramento?
Josh Allen. Yep.
Josh
Sacramento.
Allen. So I don't know, because Encore.
Yeah,
is
Josh and one more name was there last time. So sorry.
And
No,
Ron
it's-
Bowling was born in Sacramento, although I don't know if he remembers much about the real estate.
Manny and Raj, were they LA?
Manny and Raj are LA,
LA.
but still good contacts.
Hello, Sacramento. I spent
Yeah,
a lot of
Sacramento is
time.
amazing.
Teresa
Really a great
Henderson.
market.
Teresa Henderson is in Sacramento.
Yeah,
nice
Teresa
job,
Henderson's in
Desiree.
Sacramento.
Nice
Thank
job,
you, thank you.
Desiree.
Mhm.
Awesome. We have within the Alchemist community, within Alchemist Nation, we've got some amazing investors all across the country, and it keeps growing. The more we grow, the more you bring people in, the more you share with others, the bigger this community comes. Like we were just talking about today, environment, the more effective it becomes, the more connections we have, and the more tools and resources we can provide to each other. So thank you for everybody who has brought people. I know at the summit, it was almost 40% of the room were people that were brought by our Alchemist mentorship students, by our graduates, by the people who are in our community already for the last year, brought people, which one was a sign. It was amazing to have everybody stand up. it was a sign that they got value and they wanted to share it with other people. And two, it was a sign that they cared about the person they brought enough to bring them into this world, to bring them into this space of positivity, space of taking action. Not everybody can handle it. And so it means that you were qualified on some level by your friend to say, you know what, I think they got what it takes. So let's give our community a round of applause. Alchemist Nation keeps growing and it gets better and better. What other questions? Questions or comments or statements? Or aha, something you learned from the lesson you want to share with the rest of the community, something that you took out that maybe one of the coaches didn't mention. This is your chance.
I really enjoy what Doug said about hang out with people whose normal is what you aspire to. That was key for me. So yeah, I definitely will take that tip and try to put it forward.
Excellent. Let's give Desiree a round of applause. And so, you know, we do this too, right? Every week, these wealth principles were not designed originally for other people. They were mine. These are my affirmations. These are my strategy for building my own success. And every week I tackle one at a time. You've heard that before when you have kids or when you're in a classroom situation, teaching is the best way to learn. You can learn it, do it, but the way to level up your education and knowledge and understanding is to teach it. That third level of education is where you really start to gain understanding. And so I teach it and then I implement it in my business. We're doing the same thing this week. Me, Ron, Darina, Mike, all of the coaches, we're going forward and we're going to now level up our network. We're looking at the 5 people we want to attract into our lives so that we can keep growing, so we can keep paying it forward with you guys and gals. So it never gets old. And you want to be around your mentors, your coaches should be people who are still growing, who are still developing themselves, who are still reaching and stretching. And the reason I say that is I hate switching coaches. I really do. I hate having to go find somebody new. It's benefit. I will always do it because if somebody can't keep leveling up in front of me, I'll keep leveling up. But the best coaches I've had, the best mentors I had have continued to grow themselves. They've continued to deliver new content. They've continued to help me at bigger and higher levels. And so I strongly suggest when you bring on a coach, when you bring on a mentor, make sure you're bringing somebody who's constantly leveling themselves up. So you don't have to change out too much. Go ahead, Mike.
So one thing I noticed is that Walter's always telling to give a round of applause for everybody else, but we should give Walter a round of applause because Walter's always leveling up. He's constantly, this year he paid $32,000 for a new coach so he can bring it back to us. So yeah, so round of applause for Walter Amarello.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I really do. It means a lot to me to be able to serve. It means a lot to be able to get better at this. And the more I learn, the more each one of you earns. And that to me is the coolest return on investment. And I'll tell you what my coach told me when I brought him on. He said, if I can't make you 10 times what you've paid me, then I'm not the right coach for you. And he qualified me very well. He said, what does your back end look like? What does your business look like? What is your model? And just on the front end at the summit, we brought in $300,000. But that's just the front end of our business. It has nothing to do with where we really make our money. We make our money on the deals we'll do together, on the partnerships, on the investment deals. But within 3 months of hiring my coach, he was able to fine tune that event, tweak what I was going to say, tweak my lessons so they were more impactful, more effective, moving people forward. And he said, when I got to the sale, when I was offering the product, he said, man, you went through it so easily. So like no emotion around, no loss of integrity, no loss of like getting, like some people get uncomfortable around the sale. And I told him the reason I did is because you had built so much confidence around the program, around what I was doing. So that I felt like I knew what I was offering was the greatest, most amazing product because I took a guy who had over 10,000 hours on stage with personal development programs, who'd been through hundreds and hundreds of hours of his own coaching, his own personal development. So when he gave me the approval on the program I was selling, and he said, this is the best I've ever seen somebody create, I had this unheard of, unreal level of confidence in what I was producing for other people. Does that make sense? Sometimes you just need to get that validation from somebody who knows what they're talking about. And that to me, all the lessons obviously got me there, but that was what made me so confident to do this event. That's what inspires me to do it again next year on a bigger scale, because everything's a beta test. Every year of your business is a test on how do you get to your real ultimate goal, how to build that business, that lifestyle, that dream world that you're looking to create in this world. Every year is just a test until you get there. Hands to camp, you know you are crushing it in the beta test. Let's give this entire community a round of applause. I love each and every one of you. I'm so thankful for your success. As we continue to build millionaires, you are the greatest success story for each one of us. I'm looking forward to bringing more people on stage next year as millionaires. I'm looking forward to bringing more people on stage to share their stories at the 100 Millionaires Summit. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of your friends, more of the people you believe are capable of getting to the next level, even if they don't know how, but they have the desire and they're ready to aspire. Thank you, Frank McKinney, amazing book. They're ready to aspire with us. Well, then we'll take them there the rest of the way. But it's going to take you building yourself this year, building your relationships, building your connections, building the trust, building the likability between other people. If they know you, like you, and trust you, they will flow with you. But if they don't know you, that's the first stop. So we're going to be talking a lot about master of influence, how to get that social influence coming forward, because that is, by the way, the key to business right now is not necessarily what you should be, always improving your product, but it's not necessarily just having a great product anymore. People now have to know about it. And the only way to get people to know about it is to be on social media platforms, to be connecting with people and having real conversations where people know and understand your product and what you're serving. So we're going to be talking a lot about master of influence. We're going to be talking a lot about NLP, sales, negotiations over the next couple of months leading up to our next live event. Hands to the camera if you already know you're going to be at Masters of Influence in February. Oh, hell yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best.
With the
Go
best.
forth. You've got some big homework this week. This one's super important, and I know you can do it. Trust me, those 5 are out there waiting for you. They're waiting for you. Have a good rest of your weekend, guys. See you on the next one.